Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 3rd. We're holding along just fine here. We're in that soft patch. We've been waiting for a little bit of a turnaround, and we're starting to see long-term buyers pop into this. We haven't seen a reaction from mid-term, short-term buyers that kind of held things in place. So to see a turnaround of long-term buyers, and we're so close to the breaking into a new zone, could be right at the precipice of that turnaround. And it's nice to see when you get this kind of decent reset that you have an opportunity. I don't know that it's necessarily going to create a massive turnaround, but the reality is there's been very gentle, soft selling, and every time we've gotten to the ABM green levels, we can actually take a look at what those numbers are right down there. They've supported, so all in all, not a bad thing. I think everyone's still looking. I think they're starting to get the picture that tax reform, those kinds of things aren't going to happen to the second half, and some of these other items that at least regulatory reform they're talking about will be in the first quarter. Well, that's significant, so that's at least a positive. We've had some interesting earning pop out for the NASDAQ, so all in all, they haven't really been all that horrible. Apple did very well, so I think the market's been genuinely pleased by some of these current readings. Euro is still having a little bit of difficulty. Can't quite break into the regular zone. Every time it hits it, it's sort of struggling, and that's just because the potential for the US dollar is still strong, but it's still a healthy range. I mean, they're nowhere near the danger zone they were a few weeks back at the beginning of the year, so they're not panicking, so to speak. And of course, bonds finally starting to break down. Now, if we get a little bit lower and break the lows here, I think we really are going to be on that stretch towards the 113, which would indicate, a strengthening dollar. Just not going anywhere. I mean, oil is dead in the water, and I think that's a positive thing. Of course, it's going to be interesting now that we're starting to see some saber rattling from Iran, blah, blah, blah. I think that's all that is blah, blah, blah. Gold, though, as I said, is still going to be the play, and I don't think that it's the play for a lot of the reasons people think it is. It's certainly just going to have a much more dynamic move simply because of what I think is a growing economic uncertainty. And that reality is definitely going to set in as people are unsure of where to actually go for growth in that. Now, intraday, look at this choppiness. I mean, we had the nice little buy signals there. We ended up with the sell. Now the shakeout ended up a little bit later. That has to do more with the brown setup here, but it was a clean DOC spread. The issue was that the orange being so elevated that it was really dramatic, because usually when you get this kind of dramatic move from the orange going all the way up there, you get a dramatic playback, and in this particular case it's usually good until you get the cross of the steel over the red, which took place right as you got down to the bottom of the move, and sure enough that was enough to generate, and that was even before you get the orange dipping below red. So it's an interesting one in a unique kind of way. But we barely got to oversold on a lot of these moves, and that caused the turnaround reaction. It was a nice one from the latest move right here. And looks pretty good because you end up with that strong dip of the orange, and it generates a much more powerful return. So we got right to the edge of that oversold. So you can clearly see the differences, but this was definitely choppy sideways action. And just now we're breaking out, should be right above those, right at the highs. So I think once you get past the mid 80s, you're clearly on the way to 2300. That's just going to be like a magnet to it. So that's what I'm looking for. And still 2350 is the general range that I've been calling for a while, even back when we were, 1450. And I mean, it's funny, there were some people that finally came out with the 30,000 Dow. It's like, yeah, welcome to something we've been talking about for quite a while. Anyway, that's where the current state of things are. As always, trade well, and we'll look for charts and everything on the Skype chat as they're relevant.